All right, welcome to my spoilers review of Dragon Ball Super Broly. I'm recording this the night of the premiere. We left the premiere about 2 hours ago, 2.5 hours ago. This is going to be a spoiler-filled review. I'm going to assume, if you're watching this, that you have already read the synopsis of the film. I'm going to assume that because I'm not going to go through the entire story of the movie here in this review. And I'm going to assume that either that or you've already seen the film. And I'm sure some of you are probably watching this video in January. Some of you are trying to avoid this, and that's fine. We're going to discuss the movie and what we thought about it. And I'm not alone. I've got a couple people here. Kendamu's here. I'm staying at her house.
Hey, how's it going?
Maria, say hi.
Hello.
Yes, and I would have MJ on this video, but he's asleep.
Sleeping.
Passed down the
He's
corner.
passed out right behind us.
Yes. So let's talk about the movie. All right. So was this the best Dragon Ball movie ever? In your, we'll start with that. Is it the best one?
Action, yes. Story, maybe. Like, I'm saying, like, if you go up based off action alone, then yes, best movie ever. But if you also go off of plot stuff, maybe you might find something you like a little better.
I think Battle of Gods still gets my favorite movie nod. I think this might be number 2, but Battle of Gods, because Battle of Gods had action in the story. But you're right. I think action was beyond in this movie beyond anything in Battle of Gods.
Visually,
Is it the best one?
God.
it was. My mind was blown.
So,
Just the way they were fighting.
but is it the best one? Is it the best Dragon Ball movie?
Probably not.
Like, Hype Brain, like, having just seen it, Hype Brain said yes.
Yeah, we
But,
want to say yes. Like when we got out of the
yeah,
theater, we're like,
it's
"This is the
hard
best
to
thing
say
ever."
no because it's just so fresh and we're so hyped up.
People were crying in the movie theater. There were the grown
Oh my
men.
God.
You almost cried a
I
little
almost
bit.
cried. I did a little bit. I was like, oh.
I was just happy.
Yeah, it was a good time. Like we've discussed, the beginning part of the movie is the backstory. That's the first third of the film is the entire backstory. They added tons of stuff to the minus stuff. They added Broly lore. Obviously, we knew all that going in. I was surprised because it took a big chunk of the movie, but it still felt like they left stuff out. Like this, I talked about this in the non-spoiler review. They rushed through a lot of the Broly backstory and the Goku Bardock. The whole history of the Saiyans thing. That's all like. They're missing. I feel like the Bardock special is also longer than that, just individual segments. So maybe that's why. But it felt rushed, but it felt also like, like they couldn't cram the whole story. Now, what was interesting to me though was Frieza did not mention Beerus at all in the backstory when it came to blowing up the planet. And I expected that to happen. We didn't see that at all in the movie.
No, you're right. I didn't think about that at all. I was just thinking, okay, I'm
You're thinking of the original manga
just
story.
trying to compare
Yeah.
it to the original.
Yeah, and it wasn't there. Now Bardock did rebel, and I think you were talking about how much you like that scene.
I did. No, I really do like the fact because it came really down to the very last second, for him to actually start doing it. So I was like, oh no, are they not gonna no? And then he jumped up and tried to fire back, and that was intensely super rad, and it was very nice that they still left that, like this,
The fact that he rebelled. But
yeah.
but how do you feel about the way they did it here versus the original Bardock special?
I would have liked if Bardock had gone to, tell Frieza to his face that, he's going to take him down and then, the big attack, kind of like in the original.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to be like...
And also more jiu-jitsu, remember? We gotta have that.
Yeah, more jiu-jitsu.
The original had that.
The original had an awesome rear naked choke.
Right.
But the actual beam that Bardock used, I think, looked cooler than the ball attack from the original. So, like, if you could get a little bit of the story setup from the original and the action setup from the new one, it'd be perfect.
It'd be perfect. Yeah, I agree. But interestingly enough, MJ pointed this out. One thing we did not see is we did not see King Vegeta rebel against Frieza. Now, King Vegeta rebelling against Frieza only happened in Dragon Ball Z. I think it was episode like 74 or something like that. It was
Something like that.
somewhere around those numbers. Yeah, it was. They showed a flashback in Z, not in the Bardock special, of King Vegeta trying to kill Frieza and Frieza one punch manning him, and it was over. That was not in the movie. So in this version of the story, in this Toriyama rewrite or retcon, King Vegeta may have never rebelled against Frieza. Bardock may have been the only one with the balls to even suspect anything.
Right. Like, in this one, you could say, oh, well, it might have happened off screen and we just didn't see King Vegeta go do it. But at the same time, if that was an important point, it would have actually made its way into the movie. So,
Right,
Bardock
I felt
being,
that
like,
way.
the sole, amazing badass rebel, even though he knows he's gonna lose. And you would think maybe if like everyone else jumped in, they might I got the feeling that like if everyone else had jumped in there, just like Bardock did, that maybe they could have done a little bit about that ball attack.
And again, this is fan service, the movie. So
Yeah.
they have a small sequence with Raditz, Nappa, and they mentioned Tarble. That's all for the fans. There's like, the scene was completely unnecessary. It's all for the fans. Like Raditz talks about how, oh, wait a minute, I think I did hear my mom say that he's going to Earth and all this stuff, which I'm glad he said that, but I mean, it was like, it didn't really serve a purpose. You could have cut the whole thing out. Like Nappa was there. Like, it was cool to see them, but it wasn't really necessary.
Fans were cheering when they saw him.
Yeah, people were
So
cheering.
you can
And
you
there
could
were
tell.
those other two Saiyans there also.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't even know who they
Yeah, we don't
are.
even know
They
who
were
they
so
are.
random.
Like
I was
I
like, all right.
thought maybe
Yeah.
like those guys, like what I kind of put together as my own headcanon was that the mission that was super tough that Raditz went to go get Goku for at the beginning of Z,
Yeah.
like that's when those guys died.
In that mission.
In that mission.
I like
that's
that
like, That's
idea.
like my headcanon.
I
right
like
there.
that. I actually like that idea.
Oh, also, like, they could have totally fathered some children in the meantime. Maybe not stuck around to be good dads, but that means potentially more Saiyans in the universe.
Right, which, well, I'm sure it'll happen. No Beerus, like, very little Beerus in this movie. Beerus had maybe at the most 45 seconds of dialogue, if even that. Did you miss Beerus? Because to be honest, he's not part of the story. I didn't care, but I would have liked to have shown a scene with him talking to Frieza.
That would have been interesting, and I didn't really think about it because at the time, just coming out of the movie, I was just like, whatever. I got my fill of Beerus to the point where like it was just all at once super cute, the babysitting thing.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
that
the
made
baby.
me happy enough with Beerus that I wasn't like just unhappy seeing him anymore.
Right.
But yeah, now that you mention it, a talk to with Frieza would be super rad.
Right. Now, let's talk about Vegeta versus Broly. Okay. That was really the first major fight that we saw. I was surprised as to how much the Vegeta Broly fight when they were in their base forms went on. That went on for a while. Like the base, Vegeta didn't even transform.
But he had that crazy glowy aura.
We're gonna get to that.
Okay.
So what'd you think about Vegeta and Broly? Because that was the first major fight of the film.
Fantastic. Just everything about it. The fight scene, choreography, just everything.
Takahashi did that one.
Oh,
Well, parts of it.
Yeah, parts you could tell. But
Yeah.
I was jumping up, cheering. I was cheering. It was great.
Everything in
And
this movie was built up to be
beautiful.
very epic.
Mm.
Like when Vegeta first goes yellow and then goes God. Like even Vegeta using the traditional yellow Super Saiyan form, just that form, like
The aura,
got
the
a
way
lot
they
of-
were.
like they drew it in a very
Yeah.
special way.
They did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
He was like revolving.
There's
just
another
every angle.
before the Vegeta fight also when Goku was talking about how like why he wants to get stronger and stuff, and he just kind of like pops into like Super Saiyan there. for a
That's
second.
right. That's right.
Like,
You're right
and
about that.
That felt very much like what we've talked about on this channel before about like the emotional energy center.
Right.
And how I feel like he just got so worked up that it just popped out from that center of his body right there. You could just literally see his emotions in the way the aura was.
Right. Right. Well, now that we've seen the movie, we can talk about that kind of stuff. So, Vegeta with the green hair. This is going to end up turning into a thing. I can already sense that this is going to be a thing. So when Vegeta goes from gold to God, when he becomes a god, it's almost like his hair turns green for a second. I think that was the
Just for
transformation.
like a quick second.
And it was like a
Yeah.
thick green. Like
And
it was
everyone noticed. They were like, "Wait a minute." The
yeah, that
crowd.
was weird. We're going to get to the
Uh-oh.
Goku one in a minute.
Yeah.
So it was actually like a bright green, and then he went to God. People are going to screen cap that and use it as clickbait and say it's like a new form or something. I
Totally.
guarantee. I already see it.
just imagine
I already
that.
see it. Yeah, I already see it. In fact, somebody probably watched this video and is going to take the idea and do it anyways now. So I know who you are. Nah, but so when Goku was transforming, I saw Ultra Instinct there for like a second. People
Yeah.
pop for it.
When he went from red to blue, right?
Yeah, it looked like he went into
Mhm.
Ultra Instinct for a very split
Just a
second.
Split second.
And because I had talked to people about this movie, and nobody said he went to Ultra Instinct, and none of the explorers even discussed Ultra Instinct, but it looked like when he transformed, he was in Ultra Instinct for a few seconds. So that wasn't just me then who thought that.
No, other people did.
No.
Yeah, because people cheered.
Yeah.
They were
They're
like,
wait a minute.
Like, they were like, wait a minute. I thought it was in the
Give me a-
movie.
Exactly.
Yeah. So then Goku versus Broly. Tate took over. How'd you feel about the martial arts? I know you popped at that the judo takedown that Goku did on Broly.
So,
You popped. I saw you popping.
That right there was good. Well, see, first off, the holding him in place with the weird kind of key attack thing.
Yeah.
Mhm.
That was like really. I guess that is Dragon Ball's version of grappling. And then when it got to even closer,
It felt
range,
that way, right?
Then it became real grappling, and they just. Oh man, it was so great because of why Goku tried to hold him in place rather than just like, oh, here I am, I'm gonna punch you a bunch.
Yeah.
And then Broly did it.
Yeah, and then,
You're like,
then
what the?
Broly-
I was surprised.
No, yeah, I was
I was
surprised.
like, wait
I
a
was
minute.
surprised too.
He
Because
fucking learned.
I heard that Goku did that before. We saw the clip, but then Broly reversed it on him and froze
It
him.
came out of nowhere.
Yeah, that was awesome. Did you think that? I know you're not really a power scaler, but do you think that the idea of Broly getting this strong, this fast, losing the base Vegeta, and then ending up going toe to toe with Gogeta Blue at the end, did you think that was just unrealistic?
Not exactly, because they're known for getting stronger mid battle
But
and improvising.
this much
and creating
stronger?
new thi-
That's
Well,
Broly
he's-
though.
Yeah, well, also what happens is all the stuff that happened in the Tournament of Power with Kale and Caulifla, where they say, "Oh, they got too strong, too fast." Like, well,
That's,
look at Broly.
that's Dragon Ball
Like
now.
that's kind of how I'm taking it. Is okay. Well, here's a worse example. So stop bothering me about my favorite girls.
Chris Ayres as Frieza. I sent him a text right afterward thanking him for his incredible performance, and I talked to Sabbath about it at the VIP.
Oh, yeah.
Chris Ayres was incredible as Frieza
He
the
was.
entire movie.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I couldn't believe how good he was. I mean, I could. It's Chris Ayres. But
No, like it's I would have never even if somehow I had never gotten the news of how much effort he has to go through to create that still.
you can't tell.
Like you can't tell the difference. It still sounds like the best he's ever been.
They had a scene where Piccolo was sensing the fight.
Yep.
And this actually pissed me off. They show Piccolo saying, "Hey Goku, you're fighting, blah blah blah." They're speaking telepathically.
Mhm.
Why didn't nobody else sense this fight? So in Dragon Ball Z episode 119, everybody on Earth senses Frieza coming to Earth. Frieza's coming to Earth with King Cold and everybody from Gohan, Tenshin Han, Krillin, and that's Namek Saga Frieza. Like that's post Namek Saga, Frieza.
Yeah, back up.
We are so much of a higher level of power now. You're telling me that Piccolo was the only guy to detect Broly? That sounds ridiculous. That is bad.
I think they probably all did, but Piccolo is the only one with the guts to like drop Goku a text being all like, "Yo, you gonna take that L or what?"
Right?
And so everyone else is probably just standing there with their eyes closed, being all like, "Oh my god," and talking amongst each other or whatever.
And Piccolo into the fusion dance.
He did. Yeah,
But
that
I mean,
was.
the kids know too.
Now that was played up for laughs, and I loved how the animation style changed for that whole sequence to
Mhm.
make it much more comical. So did you think it was, in your opinion, do you think that putting a comedy scene in the middle of a very serious fight in this instance ruined the tone, or do you think this is Dragon Ball, we should be used to that by now?
I felt like it was classic Dragon Ball.
Yeah,
Yeah, it was
I
fun.
do too. Because remember, in Fusion Reborn and Dragon Ball Z movie 12, I mean, they do Veku, and they do it here again.
Yeah.
The only difference is that in that version, he gets beat up by Janin, but here Frieza was the one getting beat up.
Right.
Yeah.
Frieza deserves it.
Also, I was surprised as to how little the Whis Broly fight was. I expected it to be longer. Whis dodged him for about maybe 7 or 8 times, and that was it. That was the whole thing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that was.
And then Gogeta popped up.
And then
Like,
Gogeta
ooh.
appeared, and then so Whis
We thought
popped
Gogeta.
that. We'll talk about that in a minute. So Whis popped at Gogeta, and then Whis talks about how finally you guys are working together. So that plot thread from Resurrection F
Mhm.
got answered. Now, one thing I think is dumb about Super is that Goku and Vegeta have never had problems working together after the Buu arc, because they did in Yo Son Goku for a brief second, and during the Buu arc they had to work together because they fused and they had to fight, and then later on they had to fight Kid Buu. They had to communicate and work together. Goku and Vegeta never really had a problem with this, but now it's like the culmination here with Gogeta. Even though we already saw Vegito, it's the culmination here with Gogeta. What do you think about Gogeta?
One, Gogeta is super rad. Like, he's always been pretty rad, but, like, this Gogeta is, like, what? Especially with him being able to go blue.
Right.
I like when he was picking his name when he first fused.
Yeah.
It was a little interesting.
He's like, Goku Jita? What should we? Yeah, it was pretty funny. It was good comic relief. And then after that, the movie became such a blur, to be honest, because everything was just complete chaos. This is the part of the movie where if you're taking any kind of hallucinogenic drugs, you might want to stop. If you have epilepsy or whatever, narcolepsy, whatever it's called, if you have vision problems, you might not want to see this movie at the end of it, or might be very careful. The Gogeta Broly fight was just. It felt like somebody was taking a paint can and splashing it on a wall.
I know, that's like...
It was too much
like
for my senses.
It was a
it's
trip.
like they broke through the universe into some other dimension of existence.
They cracked the fabric of the universe, yeah.
And then they were fighting within that, and then, like, it all came back again.
I mean, it looked pretty.
Like, that was amazing, and...
It was just nuts.
I mean, I asked Chris Sabat, I was all like, yo, was there something in your materials to tell you what was going on there? And he's just like, nope, we were all confused, too.
Yeah, because then he added the lip flap.
Yeah, he had the lip flap. Yeah, there was he talked. We went to the VIP afterward, and I had a conversation with Sabat, and he talked about how there's a lip flap that wasn't in the Japanese version. Japanese artist, he's not really sure why. So in the dub, they added "What the" could when the universe cracked. Yeah, that was a very intense and insane scene. It really was.
It was amazing, but also confusing.
Very confusing. Very confusing. Did it confuse you?
It was nice. People were like, "Ooh, what the heck?" And I like the colors. You said it was like a Doctor Strange thing.
It really reminded me of when Broly and Goku cracked the fabric of the universe. It reminded me of when Dormammu and Doctor Strange did their thing. Like, it had that same kind of look. It was really a trip. So let's talk about the soundtrack. I feel this is Sumitomo's best work. In my opinion. Battle of God soundtrack was his best work. I think this movie has better music. The Go Broly, and Gogeta,
good. I liked it.
Yeah, it didn't bother me at all.
Yeah.
It's weird when you hear about it. It's weird when you hear it by itself.
itself.
But in the movie,
it worked.
It worked.
Yeah, in context, it was amazing, and it wasn't like
I was about to say it wasn't overpowering. It was fine for what it was.
So,
I liked it.
What do you think about the soundtrack to this film? Do you agree that Sumitomo this is his best work?
This is his best work, but also I feel like maybe they're taking some vibes from the American fan base in terms of what we preferred with the music as a group, like not necessarily us individually, but the like the Falconer score and whatnot, or at least that sort of more electronic or harder tone.
Right. No, I mean I like the soundtrack. I
like it a lot too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it also seems to. It feels like the Japanese score. It feels a little like the American score, kind of a blend and a fusion.
Sean Schemmel told me that before I saw the movie.
To make everybody feel like this is their Dragon Ball.
What do you think about soundtrack? Do you want to add?
It was good.
All right. All right.
Nothing to add.
So I'm trying to think of what else we have to discuss here. Okay, so they revealed a couple things in the movie that is. All right, so I talked about it in the non-spoiler. Okay, there were some narrative issues, like AJ said. Bardock was extremely different than the original Bardock. Now, he had already been changed in Minus, but now he was a totally different guy.
He smiled a lot.
He smiled. He also
like, okay.
He basically said Goku was the hope of the universe without actually saying it. He said, "Oh, what if he can be different?" He basically was a good guy saying that was the story. Him and his wife Gine, very emotional scene. Not the same Bardock as before, obviously.
No, not at all.
Not even close. Not even close. Did that bother you?
Nope.
No, it did.
It worked in this version, I think, too.
It did. Like, I can see how in Dragon Ball Minus, how it's just kind of like, oh, this is stupid. Why did they change it? Like, but it's such a short little thing. But they were able to flesh it out very nicely to kind of put you more in their shoes and whatnot in Minus, so you could actually get that real connection there that you couldn't get in a few short pages.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And then Vegeta 4. Okay. So apparently Vegeta's the fourth Vegeta, and I asked Sab, and he said that was in the Japanese version too. He's the fourth Vegeta. We asked him at the VIP.
Yeah.
So Vegeta, King Vegeta is Vegeta the third, and then Prince Vegeta, the Dragon Ball main character, is Vegeta the fourth. We never heard this before. What do you think about that?
Where's the other Vegetas?
I thought it was really interesting. I can't remember if in Universe 7, if, Planet Vegeta was Planet Plant before, right?
That's right, yeah.
Right? I gotta wonder.
So that does that mean does that change the timeline now? Because now the events happen even further away from when King Vegeta rebelled?
Right, so maybe
it's all messed up now.
I'm thinking maybe like it was Planet Plant, then it was Planet whatever the king's name was before Vegeta, and then it was Vegeta. I think that's how it works. Like, they just kind of changed the name of the planet with the ruler.
Well, that would make sense. It's just, they called him Vegeta the Fourth.
Right.
What do you think?
That's what I'm saying. Like, it means there might have been other rulers before the Vegetas.
Oh, I see.
And so, maybe they take over by beating them.
Or maybe they didn't live long. I don't know.
Right?
I have no idea. No, I mean, once the movies, they get to the Arctic and the fight start, it's pretty much a fight the rest of the way. Except for the Gogeta scene.
Oh, yeah.
That's pretty much what it is, yeah. It is better than Resurrection, if I thought in every way. I don't think it's better than Battle of Gods. I don't think so. I think the problem with the movie is that, and I hate to say it, but this is how I feel, it probably needed to be a little bit longer. They focused a lot on the fights. They knew that's what people paid for, but I feel like the Broly stuff was getting good. They built up Broly in the middle of the movie. Chi-Lai and Broly, I ship that. I see the attraction there.
Oh my god, she's so cute.
As soon as she saw Broly, her eyes just like popped. Like, oh my god. She loved him as soon as she saw him.
Chi-Lai is such a cutie. I love her. I love my green Bulma.
That's great.
Right. Yeah. So overall, I mean, I thought it was... I enjoyed myself. I had a great time here. And I mean, it was a good movie. It's a visual spectacle. Don't pirate this fucking movie. Okay, don't. Go see it in the theater with the nice audio, the nice video, and enjoy yourself.
Yeah, this is so worth theater viewing.
Yeah,
it needs to be.
It needs to be.
You can't see it. Or don't wait.
You will be missing. If you have this movie in your region, go see it. You will thank us later.
Yeah, no, definitely. And like I said, the story did need a lot of work, and I am very curious to see if we're going to ever get that 3-hour Toriyama script. But for what we got, they did definitely add stuff to Broly, and they left some teasers for the future, like Frieza talking about how basically what they teased, and this was not in the Japanese spoilers that we got, was that Frieza's going to try to harness Broly's power in the future to go back and get revenge again. So the Frieza-Broly connection, even though Goku shows up at the end and gives them the fridge with the food and says he's Kakarot, Frieza, like, it's almost implied that the next arc or a future arc will be him trying to lure Broly into fighting Goku and Vegeta again.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like what it was. Like, oh, well, I'll just leave him there for now. I'll come pick him up later.
Yeah, that too. And then Goku says his name is Kakarot. That got a good reaction. I mean, the movie theater was a rock concert atmosphere. What do you think about Goku for the first time referring to himself as Kakaroto or Kakarot?
That was really unexpected, but, it just further kind of goes along with him accepting his origins and his heritage. That, like, you remember, like, back when he first learned about it from Raditz, he's like, nuh-uh, I'm a human, and then eventually he kind of...
I'm an Earthling.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And then I'm a Saiyan from Earth and all that stuff, and now he's just like, it's just he's accepting himself even more.
Right. Did you have any problems with the voice acting at all?
No, not really. No.
I thought it was
liked
great.
Everything.
Damian Clark really killed it as Paragus.
Mm-hmm.
Very impressed. And Vic Mignogna, I think, is great for the softer version of Broly. I think now he's better here than he was during the old movies, but also things are better anyways. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and bring this to a close. We'll probably have tons to discuss in the future. Definitely go see the movie in theaters.
Go see it.
Yes, don't pirate this thing. Go see it in theaters and enjoy it because it's pretty good. It's pretty good. It's a lot of fun. Fan servicey as hell, but I liked it. Anyways, I'm out. Talk to you soon.